I want to talk to you about a business lender called World Business Lenders, and this will be a quick review of the lender. And the big question is, should you actually trust World Business Lenders this year if you are looking for business funding? Okay, let's quickly talk about that. So, first of all, when you think about WBL, World Business Lenders, what is this organization all about? Let's talk about that. So, this is an alternative lender that provides funding for growing, successful small businesses. Okay, and the cool thing is that they can also consider your application if you are a startup. If you are a startup with potential in a specific niche, Worth Business Lenders can actually work with you. Okay, and so this is an alternative lender. This is an online lender, so they don't have like a branches where you can go to or you sit with someone. Everything happens online and over the phone. Okay, and they offer several loan products. Okay, but they're primarily known for their real estate backed loans. Okay, but they also offer short term business loans, medium term business loans, merchant cash advances as well. I'll speak about that later on. Okay, and one thing I want to say here is that with World Business Lenders, the main advantage here, I mean, there are other advantages, but the main advantage is that there is no minimum credit score. So if you have bad credit, fair credit, or good credit, you can qualify, or even excellent credit, you can qualify for a business loan through WBL. So that's totally fine. And what I love about this company also is that they've been around for the last 15 years. So that tells you a lot about their ability to actually navigate the economy in bad times, but also good times. Like they were pretty good during COVID. For instance, they were still lending to business owners during COVID when a lot of banks and credit unions shut down their funding programs. WBL, World Business Lenders, was still lending. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And so it is a direct lender. So this is not a marketplace. So if you apply for a loan at the World Business Lender, the money is coming from their own balance sheet. Okay, they're not actually they're not a marketplace for you to really compare and contrast several business lenders. No, they're not. So if you think about World Business Lenders this year, you have to think. I think I told you before that you have four primary business loans to consider. You have real estate backed loans, you have short term business loans, you have medium term business loans, and you have merchant cash advances. So, World Business Lenders actually, their maximum loan amount is actually 2 million. So their minimum loan amount is 5,000. So you're looking at 5,000 all the way to 2 million. Now the cool thing is that because they are an alternative lender, they actually can consider all kinds of credit profiles, all kinds of financial profiles, all kinds of industries. Okay, as a matter of fact, there is no restriction when it comes to the industry that World Business Lenders is actually covering. Okay, so the terms are a little stricter because they will lend you loans that you have to repay within 24 months maximum, which is pretty, I would say, fast, pretty short. Because if you borrow, let's say, $2 million, you better have the cash necessary to repay it over 24 months, for instance. Okay, so the repayment window goes from 3 months to 24 months. So one thing I want to say here is that in terms of rates, their APR starts at 13% and can go all the way to 50%. This is not actually nothing new because they are an alternative lender, and alternative lenders, they actually are notorious for their high APRs. By the way, okay, so something to really think about. So one thing I want to say here is that if you think about short-term business, like if you think about real estate-backed loans, you can use the loan for let's say residential properties, commercial properties, no problem, or even land. Okay, you can use it to make investments, improve cash flow, and more. Short-term and medium-term business loan, like short-term loans, you're looking at a repayment window of 18 months maximum. For a medium-term loan, you're looking at a repayment window of 36 months maximum. Okay, and with World Business Lenders, you might have daily payments or weekly payments because they just want to make sure they are getting paid as often as possible. as opposed to waiting for you to pay them every month, for instance. And for the merchant cash advance, this is a product that world business lenders offer. Okay, they offer, and it's kind of similar to getting working capital in a lump sum, and you have to repay it with a percentage of your future sales. Okay, and the amount you receive is an advance on your future receivables based on your sales history and projected future sales. So, if you think about world business lenders, what are the qualifications that you have to really fulfill this year to actually become an eligible borrower? One thing for sure, world business lenders is not really transparent in terms of their eligibility criteria. They want you to contact them. They want you to really speak to someone on the phone, or they want you to send an email, or even better, they want you to go through the website and actually enter your primary information, and then somebody will get back to you. Okay, so the form on the website is not really that long. It's not really lengthy. Probably 1 or 2 minutes. You should be able to complete that. That's pretty cool. Okay, and but the only thing is that world business lenders want you to be. They want you to be in business at least 6 months. Like I told you a little earlier, if you're a startup and you are in a specific niche, they might consider you, but otherwise, they like it if your business has a minimum of 6 months under its operating belt. And but in terms of the industries they finance, they're pretty flexible. They're pretty accessible on that front, from construction to trucking to mining to food service to telco to wholesale to manufacturing to auto to mechanics. They cover it all. Okay, they're really they're very flexible. Like I said, one thing I just need to say is that one if your industry is not covered, it's not if your industry is not covered, it's just better to call the company directly and tell them, as long as your industry is legal, as long as your industry is legit, as long as your industry doesn't have some kind of regulatory oversight or like a little complicated, world business lenders will work with you. I mean, they are an alternative lender, which means their risk appetite is already high, right? They're not a traditional bank. They're not a credit union that doesn't want to be associated with some industries. So they will fund your business as long as it is legit, as long as it has a legal purpose. So how do you apply to world business lenders? If you've been listening to me for a while and you just like what you hear and you want to really apply, basically, like I said, you can do it over the phone or you can just do it online. They don't have an app yet, so there's no app. There's no World Business Lenders app, and so you have to do it online. Okay, and but again, the process takes like 3 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. It's not really. They will ask you just some preliminary, I would say, information because they want you to really be in their system as a lead. That's why they're not asking that many questions up front. Once you answer those questions, somebody from WBL will contact you. Okay, they will contact you, and sometimes they call it rep or account executive or whatever. The deal is that this is someone who will receive your application, who will review it, and will have some follow up questions for you. And when I say provide basic information or preliminary information, I'm not asking for anything in depth. Okay, I'm not telling you that they will ask you for anything in depth. They'll just ask you some questions about yourself, the business, and other business owners. In case you're not the only owner, you're not the only owner, you're not the majority owner. They just want to know who is in charge or who could be in charge of the business. Okay, and that's really and so once you have the conversation with the account executive from WBL, at that point they will take 24 to 48 hours to review again your application as well as all the info that you provided, along with some supplementary data that you might actually send to them via email or you might upload later on. Okay, after the call. So once they review all those info, they will get back to you within 48 hours maximum about their decision to go or no go. So at that point, you can find out whether they're willing to fund you, they're willing to fund your business, or not. So, what are the advantages of world business lenders as a business lender this year? So, one thing I want to say here is that I think I've said this before that what I love is the fact that there is no minimum credit score. So, even if you have a 300 as credit score, you can qualify for a business loan at World Business Lender. And that's totally that makes sense because if you take their the 2 out of 4 business loans that they have, like real estate backed loans and merchant cash advances, those are collateralized loans anyway. Because for merchant cash advances, your future accounts receivable will serve as the collateral. If you think about real estate backed loans, the property that you're buying, that property constitutes collateral. Okay, so the risk for world business lenders is actually pretty limited. Maybe the only risk they have is if they go with short-term loans or medium-term loans. Then yes, they might have a risk there. Okay. So the fact that there is no minimum credit score is pretty good. Okay. So you're able to get things done fast, regardless of your credit history. The second thing is that you are able to have a short conversation. Like you can have a short online application followed by a short a short conversation, phone conversation with a rep. That's pretty good because basically there are some questions that you wouldn't be able to answer through the survey, but if you talk to someone live, then they can answer all questions that you have, right? And also you can get up to $2 million in funding. Can you imagine that? If you're a small business and somebody like a lender just comes to you and say, listen, I will fund you up to $2 million so that you can have cash to expand, you can have cash to buy inventory, you can have cash to add more payroll to your operations, to add more staff. Okay, and I don't even care about your FICO score. I don't care about your FICO score. That's really cool. And the disadvantages in terms of WBL is basically the fact that their website, is not transparent in terms of the APR, in terms of basically how they fund business loans and how fast. Okay, they're pretty mum. They're pretty mum on that front. So if you are a business owner who likes to have information upfront about business loans, that the business loans he or she is applying for, this is a little this is a bummer. This is a bummer that you can't have that info actually upfront. So what are the pros and cons here? If you think about world business lenders, what kind of pros and cons can you think about? Well, first of all, it's important to understand that this is an alternative lender. That's really critical because alternative lenders will give you all kinds of flexibility, but they'll charge you way more for it, way more than traditional business lenders such as banks or credit unions or even CDFIs. Okay, so that's important. So community development financial institutions. One thing I want to really understand here is that with an alternative lender, you have a convenient online application. That's what WBL has. There is no minimum credit score. Yes, borrowing amount up to $2 million. You don't need a co-signer. I mean, you can apply by yourself as long as your business is legit. As long as you have an EIN. As long as and you don't even need to have business credit. What they care about more is your revenue. What they care about more is your cash inflows. How much are you pulling in, and how long have you been in operation? 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, and so on and so forth. That's what they care about more. So what about the cons? So if you think about so those are the pros actually. The cons, well, first of all, right now WBL has a little problem in terms of their online reputation. Like you might see some bad reviews about the company on sites such as SiteJabber, Trustpilot, Triple B, for instance, or even Google. Okay, and the thing is that those bad reviews they're not answered by WBL. So anytime you have a bad review and the company doesn't care about answering whatever concern a customer is raising, that's a bad sign. Okay, that's a bad sign. And also, of course, I think I've said this before. that WBL actually is not really publishing anything about their fees. So that lack of transparency is really bad. I mean, it's we are we are in an era where lenders are really transparent about everything and anything. So also you do have costly APRs, factor rates, and additional fees if you were to go through WBL. So, do I recommend WBL as a lender? I would say yes to a certain extent. First of all, the company has been around for nearly 15 years. They started in 2011. Okay, so for me, that's a good. Anytime you have a company that gets into the double digits number of years of operation, that tells you a lot about their proven track record. They must be doing something right to be able to survive that long. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the fact that they actually have some reviews online means that people care a lot about them, and they've had customers good. They have good reviews and bad reviews. That's good. That kind of history is important. And but when I say to a certain extent, because their loan offerings are not diverse. They only give you four types of loans: real estate backed loans, short term loans, medium term loans, and merchant cash advances. Big question is, do you need any of those loans? If you don't need them, then you have to look elsewhere. For instance, if you're looking for equipment financing, you can't really get that through WBL. So in that case, it's just better to look elsewhere. Okay, but overall, the company is legit. Okay, people appreciate their speed in funding. This is kind of cool. People appreciate also the fact that they will connect you to an account representative, an account executive who will answer all questions that you have. So you can talk to a live person. Okay, I mean, because there are some business lenders, they don't even give you the option to talk to a live person. They want you to just send an email to a general inbox that will be replied within a month or within a week, whatever. Okay, but WBL is a lot more, I would say, accessible from that front. So that's really cool. But just remember that they have their accounts too, the drawbacks, high cost, okay, lack of transparency. And by the way, if any of the loans that they're offering you doesn't really apply to you, or if you are denied by a WBL, you can actually talk to other lenders. You can look for other loans, working capital loans, revenue based business loans, invoice factoring, equipment financing. You can really, or even business lines of credit. As a coda into this conversation, I spoke to you about world business lenders. This was a review about the company, and I gave you all the info you need to know about them. So, what they are as a company, how their business loans work, what are the qualifications to actually get in there, how do you apply there, what are the pros and cons. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.